We got the carrier's contacts, we got the means to call them, and we're getting to the most important part, which is building up the courage to make the call. For someone who has never done this before, the thought of making a cold call may be a bit frightening. Fear of rejection, fear of being yelled at, fear of the unknown. Believe me, with time this will pass and you'll become much more confident, but in this section I'll tell you about certain techniques that will help you overcome this fear and start selling. And to begin, let's look at the best and worst scenarios of a cold call. And this will help you understand that there's really nothing to be afraid of. Let's start with the worst. Let's say the person hangs up on you. You call them and say, "Hello, Mr. Johnson, I'm calling you to offer my dispatching services," and they just hang up on you. So what? He'll forget about it in a few seconds, and so will you. Go get some coffee, take a walk, shake it off, and make your next call. It doesn't matter. Or let's say they even yell at you. Let's say you call them up and you say, "Hello, Sam, I would like to offer you my dispatching service," and they start yelling at you. Like, "You're wasting my time, I don't want to talk to you, where did you get my number, blah, blah, blah." It doesn't matter. I mean, from experience, 99% of the owners of trucking companies are very nice people. They will not yell at you. They will politely come up with some ridiculous excuse and probably manage to get rid of you if they really don't want to talk to you. If someone yells at you, they're probably having a bad day. Maybe they found out their wife was leaving them, or they wrecked their car, or a bird pooped on them. So you called them at a bad time. Once I called someone myself, and they yelled at me for no reason. And then I called them back, and about a month later, and they were incredibly nice. And we actually ended up making a sale. It happens. Again, just go out for coffee, take a walk. Maybe even hang up if they're rude. You're human too, so you don't have to put up with it. It could also be that they just don't want what you're selling. So okay, that's fine. There's just another person you can cross off your list. Now, let's think about a better scenario. They buy your service. They sign up with you. You start dispatching them. They pay their first weekly commission and keep working with you for years, bringing you money every single week. Remember, they wouldn't have done all of this if you hadn't called them. Chances are they would have never known about you and found themselves another dispatcher. But you called them. You reached them at the right time and you made a sale out of thin air. In one call, in 5 or 10 minutes of your life, you made an extra sale. Isn't that great? This is pretty good, isn't it? At worst, you hang up or they hang up and you move on with your life, and at best, you get a sale. A huge perk of dispatching business is the customer life cycle. Once you sign one, you can make money from them for years. And over time, if all goes well, they will buy another truck and your income with them will double. One technique I've used in the past to overcome my fear of cold calls comes from a man named Brian Tracy. He's an absolute genius in the world of sales training, and he wrote a book called Eat That Frog. I recommend reading it or listening to the audiobook if you get a chance. The gist of the book is that if you ate a frog, you can't do anything worse that day. Eating a frog is a difficult and absolutely disgusting task. You boil the frog, you cut it up and eat it. And whatever else happens to you that day, obviously it will be better than eating the frog. I use the same technique when I make cold calls. So I set myself a very small task, like doing cold calls for 30 minutes. When the time comes, I tell myself, it's time to eat the frog. I get over my fear and laziness and get to work. I know that after 30 minutes, whether the sale goes well or not, I'm a free man. I no longer have to make cold calls. The hardest part is behind me. And actually each time I realize that it wasn't so bad. Usually at the end of the 30 minutes, I keep calling because I've already gotten into the swing of things, maybe even had a successful conversation with someone, and I just want to repeat my success. Okay, so we got some motivation. It's time to proceed directly to the call. We need a sales script. We're not going to invent anything on the fly. We will approach this task in a structured way. I will explain the key parts of a successful conversation and provide a script that you can start with. But let me say right off the bat that a sales script is not a one-size-fits-all ready-made document. No, It's a continuous work in progress. I urge you to work on it constantly to remove the irrelevant and constantly add and test new ideas. The first part of the script is introduction. Here you need to explain as briefly as possible who you are, why you're calling, and at the same time get the person interested. Start with a quick greeting, like, hi, this is Daniel with ABC Dispatch. Is John available? So you briefly introduce yourself. The person doesn't know why you're calling, but you already started saying their name, so they're interested in continuing the conversation. At least in order to find out what this is all about. If you don't have the person's name, but you have their company name, you can say something like this. Hi, this is Daniel with ABC Dispatch. I was dialing for XYZ Transportation. Did I get to the right place? Next comes the so-called hook. This is probably the most important part of the call. After this phrase, the person will decide whether he's interested in having a conversation with you. Here's an example of a hook for calling new trucking companies. Look, I found your contact online. I'm the owner of a truck dispatching company. We specialize in helping new trucking companies get access to a larger number of load opportunities. If that's something I could interest you in, I'd love to give you a short introduction. It won't take more than 2 minutes of your time. The reason for the call becomes clear. I found a number on the internet and I'm calling to offer dispatching services. Why should you be interested? Because we specialize in working with new carriers and helping them get access to more freight. So we're shifting our attention to this because it's one of the major pains of new companies. Usually they understand where to find loads, but they constantly think that someone more experienced has more contacts, more opportunities, and more high-paying loads. And here we're calling them and offering exactly that. And finally, we sell the customer on the continuation of the conversation. We say, if you're interested, I'd be happy to give you more details. It won't take more than 2 minutes. So, of course, we hope the conversation will take much longer than 2 minutes, but it's a sales phrase. It gets him know that it will go quickly. In 2 minutes, you can get access to something you don't have. Sounds like a great deal. Step 2, the needs identification. We can move on to the stage if the carrier has agreed to speak to us. If not, he either hung up on you or moved on to an objection. We'll deal with objections later. How do we identify their needs? We ask questions. Your key goal here is to get the carrier talking and to figure out if they have a need for your service. So generally speaking, getting the client to talk is the key to success. Many salespeople do not ask questions, they just go straight to the sale. This is fundamentally wrong. Conversations with such salespeople really don't last more than 2 minutes and rarely end with a sale. When you ask questions, think about what you're interested in about the customer. Here are some examples. What type of equipment do you have? How many trucks do you currently have in your fleet? What areas do you operate in? How do you handle your dispatch at the moment? What tools do you currently use to find loads? Or do you think you could be getting better loads but don't have access to them? As the conversation flows, you'll have to decide for yourself what questions to ask and in what sequence. There's no single magic formula that fits every call. If the person on the other side of the phone is sociable and is happy to talk about the business, keep asking questions. The more they talk, the easier it is to complete a sale. Alright, step 3, presentation and sale. So ideally, the leading questions should smoothly lead to the conversation to the sales stage. For example, say you ask the carrier how he handles the load booking process at the moment, and he says that he only works with 2 brokers who send him load offers because he hasn't had the time to get deeper into dispatching. This is where you have to catch the moment and present your service. Here's an example of how you could answer. Well, this is exactly something that I can help with. I will be contacting multiple brokers, negotiating on your behalf, and chasing high-paying load opportunities, as well as filling out all the paperwork, booking loads, and taking care of your invoicing. You will have more load options, and your income potential will be higher. See, the carrier outlined the problem, and you provided the solution right away. Sometimes that's enough to get them interested and move on to discussing details and prices. But what if you've come across a more experienced carrier? Maybe he's already working with many brokers, has access to loan boards, or has worked with dispatchers before. For that, you need to have a value proposition that explains why you or your company are better than all the other options and offers on the market. Here's an example of a value proposition. We book loads with rates above the market, and here's how we do it. We use all available load boards as well as our own direct broker contacts. Our dispatchers always manage to find the best possible option because that's what they do all day. While you're driving and don't have the time to look for loads, your dispatcher will be working and sending you offers based on your financial goals. This way you will never miss a good opportunity even if you're busy doing something else. And the best thing is, we only charge a small commission if we actually book a load for you. So if you find your own load, you don't have to pay a dime. Your money is completely safe. Is that something that would be of interest to you? This is a very strong paragraph. You can adjust the part about commission to your own liking, but honestly it's the easiest way to sell a dispatching service. Because it's one thing when you say, hey, give me $300 and I'll provide you the service. But it's another thing to say, I'll provide you the service and you'll only have to pay me commission after you book a load through me. That is, if you make money, I'll make money too. You see, the second offer is way more attractive. Step 4. Closing the deal. According to all the principles and techniques of cold calling, it's not customary to sell on the first call. The idea is to interest the person, qualify them as a potential customer, identify their needs, and present your product or service. This is usually followed up by a next meeting or a follow-up call with someone who can correctly present product details and close the deal, such as a senior sales manager or operations manager. But in our case, we definitely will not be meeting with our customers, and there's no one else to close the deal but you. The specifics of selling dispatching services is that closing the deal and signing contracts is only a small part of the sale. The main sale begins when the dispatcher starts working. It costs the client nothing to sign up with you. He can send all the paperwork in 10 minutes and you immediately start looking for his next load. Because of this, we can close the deal on the first call if the client likes your presentation. Here's an example of a call to action to close the deal. Signing up with us is a very simple process. I will just need your email address to send you the setup packet. You will need to send back your company documents, MCW9 and certificate of insurance. You will also need to sign a dispatcher carrier agreement. There are no additional fees for setting up, pausing, or canceling the agreement. While you're taking care of the documents, I can start looking for the next load and sending you some offers. Tell me, when and where will you need your next load from? At this point, we explain to the customer the process of signing up for our service and once again emphasize the fact that it's absolutely free to start. But most important are the last two sentences. While you're dealing with the paperwork, I can get busy looking for your next shipment and send you some offers. Tell me when and from where you will need your next load. So, saying just those two sentences doubles your chances of getting started with that client. Of course, I haven't included discussion of price, terms of cooperation, and other details here. I'm only going over the key steps involved in the sales right now. You can go through the details by opening the sales script template file that I've attached to the lesson. But we're not done yet. An important part of the sale call is the handling of objections. Let's dive into that for a minute. So, objections can and will arise at any point in the conversation. That's why we discuss them separately. Unfortunately, in my years of cold calling, I've learned that objections are always the same. So by coming up with answer options for the main ones, you can handle pretty much any objection. Let's start with the first one. And no thank you, I'm not interested, or I do my own dispatch. This is the most common type of objection, basically a simple no. A weak salesperson will immediately give up after hearing a no, but you and I will handle it. Here are two answer options, a short one and a more extended one. So option 1. Listen, why not get more load offers that could be higher paying loads without taking any financial risk? From this you can only gain. I will only charge you if you actually book a load through me. So why not give it a try? If they say no to that phrase, you can try to ask a question and get them talking. If they don't want to answer questions, just let them go. You've done all you could. Chances are they really don't need the service at this point. You can save their contact and maybe try them again in a couple of months. Here's a longer answer version to the same objective. I understand, but you can also use our service as an additional source of load opportunities. Just like you have your load boards and your broker contacts, you can have a dispatcher send you load offers that are specific to your preferences and your financial goals. We'll only charge a commission if you accept a load, the dispatcher books it and you deliver it. In that case, we'll send you an invoice for the percentage at the end of the week. Otherwise, there are absolutely no fees. So this option works well for more experienced carriers because they already have their dispatch sorted, but it doesn't mean that you can't sign up with them. You will need to slowly infiltrate your services into their dispatch routine. Maybe only partially dispatch them at the beginning, meaning they will book some loads through you and some through other sources. Alright, second objection is send me an email. It actually seems like great news at first sight. The carrier wants me to send him my information by email. But actually, that's an objection. It's the same as I need to consult with my wife. It's an excuse to end the conversation because the customer has lost interest. And what do we need to do if this happens? That's right, we need to get the interest back. And what are people interested in? Talking about themselves and their business. So here's a great way to deal with this objection. Yes, John, I will certainly send you our info by email, but in order for me to send you the most relevant information, let me ask you a quick question. And after this, just start going through questions that you've prepared beforehand. What type of equipment do you have? How many trucks do you run? How do you currently handle your dispatch? What are your financial goals? Etc., etc., etc. And do not let him go until you at least have the opportunity to make a brief presentation of the service. After the conversation ends, send that informational email or a commercial offer, take a pause of maybe 1 to 2 days, and then call again, trying to close the sale. Next objection, I'm busy right now, or I'm driving, I cannot talk. And this is the only case where we actually can let the potential customer go without a fight, especially if you said it at the very beginning of the conversation. Because if the person is busy, we don't want to bother him. We'll only make it worse. The only thing we can try is to schedule the next call. So try to go with something like this. My apologies, I won't bother you any longer. What time can I call you back today? So pay attention to this today. Not just when can I call you back, but what time can I call you back today? It's a little sales trick. We set a psychological time limit, and the person is more likely to agree to speak again later today. Then the last typical objection is it's too expensive or your fees are too high. Well, that's a classic. No matter what numbers you name, the answer is always expensive. We'll also deal with this problem in the classic way, explaining why the value overrides the price. We'll touch upon pricing your service a bit later, but to handle this objection, try something like this. I understand you might have seen lower prices for a similar service, but in dispatching, quality outweighs the cost. I book loads that are 10 to 15% above average market price, but I charge only 4% commission. Plus, considering that you only pay if you accept a load, you can do your own calculation for each offer. Take away 4% and see if my load still makes financial sense to you. I've had many customers tell me that in the beginning, but they gave me a chance to prove myself, and now they book loads only through me. In my opinion, this is the perfect handling of the objection. Yes, I take 4%. Yes, some inexperienced guy from Cuba probably charges less. But I'm a professional. I book loads above the market price, and it will end up being more profitable for you. You see, we emphasize it by saying that other customers were also hesitant at first, but then saw the real value. Well, that's about it. Only four key objection types, but once you think of good answers, you can use them for any occasion. You don't need to keep more in mind, because yes, there are atypical and tricky questions, but the answers will also be atypical, customized for the situation. They don't have to be written down and memorized. Your sales script is just the foundation. After a couple of days of calls, you will not read from a piece of paper, and after the first couple hundred calls, you will not even put it in front of you. Everything will be in your head anyway. So be sure to read through the scripts that I've attached to the lesson. They have even more details and options for you to pick from. I also included a simplified script that a student of mine created in the past and that works great for beginners. The main thing to remember is that your task is to create your own script that suits your character, your image, and manner of communication. And don't forget to constantly download the carrier database file, even if you're not planning to use them right away. You may need them in the future.